Anyway.
So there's like multiple little leaves on one leaf. Would be a compound leaf, like compound word. You got more words that make one.
Multiple, yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of think of it like that. And they're very easy. The hard thing for me to identify is different members of the ash family. That's a little harder. And I'm sure it could go down. There's better ways to do it. But I think there's only really two that I know of that are planted in Utah. And it's white ash and green ash. And I think white is the one that's planted more. It's the habit, so the shape of the canopy is different. The white is not as formed. It's kind of like a everywhere, where the green is more of a put together.
Is it more pyramidal kind of? Or okay, yeah.
I have no idea. I just know it's a little bit more tighter.
Tighter. Green's tighter, and the white's just messy.
I could be wrong.
It's a messy cotton bally looking thing.
But they planted ash because all of the elms died. So why they planted American elm was because they had this beautiful habit, this cascading huge thing that was just beautiful, and it was easy to have it next to roads, really super high.
Got the genus of that, right? The
elm?
Genus to the ash.
Oh, ash is a Fraxinus.
You need a drink. Okay. Ulmus, right? Or Ulmus?
Yeah, I did mention Ulmus, so that's elm.
Yeah, okay.
So there's many, many variety of elm. And they're kind of making a comeback. They were really popular back in the day, and then Dutch elm disease kind of came through, which is not even from Europe, like the disease. It was from Asia.
Yeah.
It was just first discovered in Europe. Anyway.
And it was
neither here nor there.
It was the American elm that affected the most.
Yeah, which was isolated from Asia, so it didn't have any defense against it. Went down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, jacked them up.
And now they're coming out with new varieties that are more resistant to that disease, the Dutch elm disease, which is a
systemic
disease. Affects the movement of the nutrients in the tree. There was a vector for it, so an insect that would bounce it from tree to tree. I can't even remember what kind it was. Great tree, just a little on the disease prone side. Now they're coming out with new varieties that are they don't get as big, they don't have as cool as a habit. Awesome. I like elms. They grow fast, they can tolerate a lot of different soils, tolerate different heats climates. Good tree.
So, but there's also that elm that everybody knows about and hears about that is like that weedy elm.
Yes, the weedy elm. Everyone says, I've heard it called Chinese elm, which is not it. It's a Siberian elm that is so good at growing, it's got to become weedy.
Yeah.
Which I almost want to start a nonprofit and go around and pull everyone's elms out. Yeah,
the ones that are going along, growing up along fence lines and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're a blight. Ooh. It's the second time I've said that. It's just in my head.
So, and the reason why it's so prolific is that it seeds twice a year. Once early spring, before it leaves out, and then once in the fall. It also is rhizomatous. Its roots just go nutso and just shoot up everywhere.
How do we tell an elm, though? It's not. It looks a lot like the ash, but it is not compound leafed.
That's right.
So it's a really big tree, or could be a really big tree. A cousin of the elm is the Zelkova, which they have very similar kind of leaf structure.
Where the leaf it's ribbed.
Yeah.
There's really prominent ribs in the leaf.
I wouldn't say it's serrated. Could be called serrated. I don't know.
Yeah.
But American elm leaf is huge.
Yeah.
It's like your hand. Where the Siberian elm leaf is really teeny.
Like the size of a quarter, maybe.
Right. And it's a lot closer to the size of a Zelkova leaf, at least the Zelkovas I've seen here in Utah. When I was in Japan, though, I saw a Zelkova that was huge. It was like the roundness of this table. That was like the caliper. It was that big.
Dude.
So, Zelkovas are good street trees, too.
4-foot diameter. So yeah, and then there's also a resurgence with this Chinese elm that we planted over at Marinda and American Fork in the parking strips because they can tolerate heat, and pollution, and just rough conditions, and so we planted those over there. I've seen them pop up in a lot of parking strips and I don't know, mall parking lots and things like that.
So the other name I've heard them called, because of the confusion with the Siberian elm, is lacebark elm.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And I've even heard it another name. So, and that could be a specific variety of that Chinese elm. So that's even going maybe a little deeper. So in identifying, there's varieties of that specific species.
Cool.
Elms, ash, maples. What's another?
Oak.
Super common. Oak.
Mm-hmm.
So oak, those are really easy to identify because they have acorns. Da-da-da. So those are really easy to figure out. There are two different kinds of oak. So the genus name of oak is Quercus, which when I was playing like video games, that was my name. I'd put in Quercus because I wanted to be the oak. Yes,
dude. You know what? That's funny because that genus sounds like, when you say that, it sounds like cork.
Yeah,
kind of. Which is funny that cork actually comes from an oak tree.
So like the cork trees or the cambium that they the bark that they make corks out of is an oak tree?
Yeah, like the corks for a wine bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes from oak trees, and they're mainly grown over in Europe. They grow really well there, and they just harvest that bark every so many years, and then they let it regrow. It's kind of like shearing. It's a lot like shearing your sheep, where it just regrows. No big deal. But it's from oak trees.
That's cool. I didn't know it was an oak.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't know it was an oak.
Cork bark oak.
I've heard of the trees that do. I think there's actually one at the U. I'm pretty sure there's one at the U that they don't harvest it. But
yeah.
Because the U has their trees are part of the state's arboretum. So they have some cool stuff there.
Nice.
But anyway,
you can go poke it.
Yeah, I mean,
this is cork.
You know those big cracks in tree bark?
Yeah.
They're huge. I mean, it's
fissures.
I mean, it's like if you know where the area is that it's in, if you just kind of go look around at the trees, you can find it. I think it is labeled though, so anyone at the U, it's on the lower part of campus by President's Circle. There's like a little tree grove of like these kind of cool trees. It's in there. So good luck, suckers.
Yeah. Is it labeled? Do you know? Or?
It is. I'm pretty sure it is labeled.
Cool.
Because they have their older trees, someone went through and labeled them. The newer ones, they don't really. I think they might be getting back onto that. I think there was a project started to try to
revitalize the labeling factoder. And
it's really cool. I mean, they really do try to get a variety of different trees up there. So,
very good.
Yeah.
So there's oak, and how do you identify an oak tree in your yard? If you're just like, oh man, what is this?
Yeah. So it's a highly lobed leaf. You're gonna have acorns if it's healthy. Some of them might not produce acorns, you know. But the ones I can think of in Utah is the scrub oak. Great story. We'll finish on Quercus. So I used to deliver mail, at the post office. There was there's this street that was Oak Street, and the name for the Gamble oak is the scrub oak. So everyone just calls it scrub oak. The actual name is Gamble oak. So Quercus gambilii. And I'm delivering at this box on Oak Street, and the guy's last name is Gamble. I'm just that's just funny, man.
That's awesome.
No one gets it, and I tell people, and they think, hey.
You put two little eyes after his name.
Gambilii. But oak, gamble oak. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah, acorns. And the way that you can tell different kinds of oaks is by the shape of the acorns. So it's kind of like pines. You can tell by the different shape of the pine cones. And that's how you can tell the difference. So, and then there's pyramidal oaks and, Old English red oak. And there's red and white oak, which white oak are very soft lobed. So, it's very roundy.
Yeah.
And then red oaks they have a little spur on the end. They have a little pokey. So that's how you can tell the difference of those kind of oak. So if it's a pointy leaf on the leaf, if it's pointy, that's a red oak. If it's roundy and it's smooth, it doesn't hurt you when you touch it, that's a white oak. So like the swamp oak is a white oak, the English oak is a white oak, the sawtooth oak is a red oak. That's the only red oak I think I know.
Pin oak. That's
Pin
a
oak.
That's a red.
That's a red oak.
Mm-hmm.
Mossy cup oak is white. White oak.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Burr oak is
Burr
white.
oak.
Mm-hmm. That has the largest acorns I've ever seen in my life. The burr oak.
I think the white oak are more popular than the red oak.
They do better here in the Intermountain West area. The white ones do
The red
better.
ones have a harder time with the acidity.
Yep. It's a pH issue.
That is the tree that you gave iron to.
Yes.
Yeah. So
With those little iron tabs that I drilled into the cambium, exactly.
Way cool. I mean, you just drill them into the tree.
Yeah.
And it feeds it with iron. Way cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. There's what do we go over 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Those are pretty common that we see in the landscape all over, and they're very easily identifiable. I mean, driving a car on the freeway, you can identify these things if you know what to look for. So, anyway, over and out, suckers.
Plant on, Babylon.
Bye-bye.
Later.
All right, this is Blaine. Thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. Thanks for riding along this train with us. So that was Tree ID. We just want to thank, I want to thank you, the listeners, for listening. I want to thank Brad for doing this with me. I want to thank everybody for everything. I just got a lot of love to give. Come check us out on Facebook. We have a business page, Facebook group of the community of the Horticult meets up. So come find us and share and like and subscribe and all those wonderful things. Give it away. We're giving this away. Just give it away to everybody else. And thanks. We always enjoy listener participation. So send us a shout out, send us an email, write us a comment, all that good stuff. But there we go. And remember, plant on, Babylon.